I have gone 100% no contact with my Christian family, and I'm about to tell you exactly why. First and foremost, I don't feel like putting my face in the camera. It's Sunday morning. I'm in the bed. Fuck you. But as a historian, I know fully well that Christianity and many other religions, Christianity is not the only one, but that's the one we're going to talk about today. Christianity was used as the single handed tool to not only enslave our ancestors, not all of them, just the portion of our ancestors that were involved in the transatlantic slave trade and the slave trade amongst the native folks who were already here before this land was named America. And then again, to this day, since that, Christianity has still been the same tool to reinforce those same ideals into your mind and into the masses. This is why you're seeing Christian weirdos showing up outside of metaphysical shops to sing and evangelize on some cult KKK behavior shit. Christianity was used on the plantations to ensure that slaves did not kill themselves. In fact, they told slaves if you were to kill yourself, according to the Christian Bible, you would turn into a zombie. You would be the walking dead. And that's why suicide is a sin. Because if you kill yourself, you're going to turn into a zombie and still be cursed to work this land. But the reality is they didn't want black people killing themselves off the plantation because then, of course, the white people would lose money. I mean, your capital, why would you kill yourself? Why would I let you kill yourself? And then I'm going to waste money and not going to have a worker. So, no, I'm going to demonize the idea of suicide. If you kill yourself, you'll turn into a zombie. Christianity was used to force our African ancestors to forget their traditional spiritual practices. Women and men and children were bound, their hands were tied, their feet were tied, their mouths were gagged so that they couldn't do hoodoo, they couldn't do root work, they couldn't do what their actual practices were. And they were tied and bound for so long, or their hands were simply actually cut the fuck off so that, again, they wouldn't remember, they could not do it, they could not perform. And then they were forced to listen to Bible verses and church songs over and over and over again until that is what they were doing and singing and believing. There are even parts of the Bible that encouraged slaves to continue to be slaves. It made it seem as if, slavery was a good option. God wanted this for you. Your masters are here to take care of you, even though they were beating you and killing you and raping you and selling your children. The Bible encouraged slaves to want slavery. The mental health industry started because white people would say if you were a black person or an African person who was forcefully enslaved and you're trying to run away and escape slavery and escape captivity, you were mentally ill. It was crazy and delusional to not want to be a slave, to not want to be in captivity, to not want to watch over and over and over again your family being divided, separated, killed, beaten. They said you were mentally ill if you did not want that shit. It was against God if you did not agree with that shit. And as a historian, I actually found this out when I was a little girl, way before I even got my degree and went over to Africa and studied over there and all of that. I learned this as a child. So when I realized that and still saw my mom, my grandmother, my great grandmother still trying to get me up and take me to the Christian fucking church, I had enough. And I asked them, why are we Christian if you know that this was used to do stuff to our people, bad stuff? Oh, well, baby, that's just the past. It wasn't really like that. It doesn't actually say that in the Bible. That's not true. But it is true. Some of our people know what Christianity has done to our community, but they are still so deep into the poison, so deep into the brainwashing, so deep into the conditioning that it has had on our people that they are afraid to rebel. right? They're afraid to leave the Christian church because they still subconsciously, even though we fully know full well this is not actually going to happen. Think about it. Some of your living elders are so afraid to leave the church because they really feel like somebody massive finna come fuck them up. God finna come do something to them. Like they really so deep into that shit because they did not have a choice. It was forced onto them. And then they fucking raised their children, i.e., millennials, Gen Zs. They raised us to try to believe the same shit. And some of y'all on this app really die hard about this shit. You got millennials and Gen Zers really setting up whole live streams to read the Bible. They mass commenting prayers, talking about demons and songs and shit that don't even make fucking sense. But baby, to them, it makes sense because that's all they were ever taught, to be afraid of themselves. They're scared of fucking rocks. They think crystals are demons. They think rocks, amethyst, rose quartz, all of the things, obsidian that naturally grow from the earth. They think those things are demonic. They think you doing yoga and stretching your fucking body is demonic. Everything is a demon to them except the pastor touching kids, except the pastor taking tithes from them, except the church promoting fucking slavery and not doing nothing to help the food crisis, not doing anything to help the housing crisis. These churches don't do any of that shit. They sit in there, they read the same 6 fucking verses from that fucking book so that you feel shitty about yourself. You feel shitty about trying to break free of anything. You feel shitty for having your own fucking thoughts. You feel shitty for setting boundaries with your fucking family members that have touched on you, hurt your feelings, or done some shitty, nasty things to you. Because the Bible says you're supposed to forgive and forget. No, baby. The Bible is when you're finna fucking die, okay? That's finna be your fucking graveyard. Baby, the minute you leave that motherfucking church and you start thinking for yourself instead of just believing everything that's put in front of you, believing everything your grandmother says, believing everything your mom and dad says, even though you know full well that they are pieces of shit, that they have done horrible things, that they have said horrible things to you, that they did or did not support you when you really needed it most. Baby, leave that motherfucking church and start thinking for yourself. Give it less than 90 days. Give it less than 90 days after leaving the fucking church and really thinking for yourself, and you will see a whole different side of world and reality. Because Christianity is still used to enslave our people. We are watching it happen in real time. But some of y'all, instead of being forced to do it, are willingly doing it this time. And that is the system that they've created. This is what they want. You are helping them do it. Every time you practice, every time you preach, every time you open that Bible, you are helping them do it with pride and a smile on your coon ass face. And then when some of us dare to try to wake your stupid ass up by telling you, hey, don't you think that this is a little ridiculous, that these things don't exactly add up and make sense? Y'all come at us and say, y'all delusional, y'all sleep. Talking about Jesus love you. Nigga, no the fuck he don't.